welcome, welcome, welcome. You might be sitting there thinking, what? Did the XXX movies not get everything right down to the very last detail? I am shocked and outraged, and I don't believe you. Well, sorry to say, that's what I'm saying. But I'm gonna back it up for you with a few facts, because that's what we do on this channel. We take Hollywood movies and we sprinkle that with a lot of common sense, and we serve it to you McFlurry style for easy digestion. So if you're into that kind of thing, well, then you've come to the right place. So let's together take a look at some of the most ridiculous and over-the-top weapons in the XXX movies.
First on the list is this grenade. It's quite stupid for a lot of reasons, and it's a testimony to why I do what I do. Let's try and think about what we want our grenades to do. Well, we want them to explode as close to the bad guy as possible, and we want them to not explode pretty much anywhere else. The last bit is important because most people find it quite unappealing to blow up, and they tend to avoid that kind of thing. The way a grenade accomplishes that today is threefold. There's a safety pin, a lever, and a time fuse that can't be interrupted. If you pull the pin, release the lever, and wait for about a throw and a roll, the grenade goes kablamo. So why, oh why, would you put a button on the grenade so the bad guy can make the grenade not go boom? If you remember from before, that is exactly what we want our grenades to do. And how does it even work? It's not a time fuse, that's for sure. Someone has had to put some serious engineering time into developing this damn thing, and for this very specific purpose. It's like the game, you know, with the ball and the water balloon inside it that go pop after some time. Except for laughter at the end, you get a big boom boom and dismemberment. Maybe it's a modernized version of the Chinese hot potato exercise, which is freaking crazy, by the way. It makes no sense if the bad guy can just pick up the grenade and hand it back to whoever threw it at him. That's like if you subscribe without hitting the bell button. Makes no sense, right? You'd miss all the awesomeness. You see what I did there? There's a little pitch for you too. And moving on. Next weapon on the list is the heat-seeking rocket. There's not much to say other than, really? Is that really how it works? Nah, I don't think so. First, rockets are not lit when they come out of the tube. You would burn to a crisp if that was the case. Rockets get pushed out by an explosive charge and then ignite the propellant at a safe distance, like this. Second, he is sitting in some kind of maintenance room with lots of crap all around him. Don't tell me any of the pipes or electronics are not hot. And what about his gun barrel? Those things get crazy hot. He would not die from smoking, he would die from shooting at them. Third and most importantly, Diesel needs a direct line of sight. Heat-seeking rockets log onto a heat signature when they are fired and then follow that signature. How does the rocket know what to home in on? Does it have some kind of butt filter to only target bad guys with half-smoked cigarettes? Of all the things that the rocket can aim at, I'd say the cigarette is probably the least likely thing of them all. This next weapon on the list, and I'm doing air quotes on the weapon here because it's not really a weapon, but it's probably my favorite of them all. It's a plane that can circumnavigate the world 3 times without refueling. How did they do this, you say? Well, they made the fuel tanks bigger, of course.
And fuel tanks big enough to circumnavigate the globe 3 times without ever landing.
I guess that kind of makes sense, but I think the writers forgot that fuel is heavy and take up a lot of volume. It's the rocket problem all over again. The more you weigh, the more fuel you need, and the more fuel you need, the more you weigh. From the looks of it, I'd say they are flying a Boeing C-17 Globemaster III. So let's see what specs we can find on that. Okay, so these are the numbers. If we were to fly around the world 3 times, and I'm assuming around the equator here, we would have to fly about 120,000 kilometers in one go. That's 27 times farther than the original plane can fly, so we would need about 27 times more fuel. 27 times more fuel is 3.6 million liters. And jet fuel weighs about 0.8 kilos per liter, that sort of thing. That means that the fuel alone weighs 2,900 tons, including the plane we're looking at somewhere around the 3,000 ton mark. That is insanely heavy. It's 2 times the Falcon Heavy, and that thing is almost 100% fuel. Can you imagine the wings you need to get that thing to fly? Well, as it happens, you don't have to imagine it. We can just calculate it. Here we can see that 1 square meter of wing carries about 730 kilograms. So in other words, you need wings that are the size of an American football pitch. And I'm gonna call bullshit on that. But what's even more bullshit is a satellite bombing thingy, this 90s looking Game Boy doohickey, in Return of Xander Cage. It's the entire plot of the movie and it's completely wrong. It's frankly so wrong it's difficult to know where to begin. But let's start with the obvious, shall we? There are not this many satellites around the world, and they tend to go in specific orbits to cover as much of the world as possible, which would not be like pearls on a string. There are currently around 5,000 satellites in orbit around the world, some working, some not. The area of the Earth plus low Earth orbit is around 600 million square kilometers, meaning that if the satellites are evenly spread out, they would be about 350 kilometers apart. Not exactly rush hour like this. But the main reason why this weapon is so incredibly stupid is the fact that satellites can't be used as bombs for one very simple reason. They burn up in the atmosphere. They disintegrate. No satellite would ever make it to the surface in one piece. Maybe tiny fragments of it, but not the whole damn thing. And it wouldn't go kaboom. And given they move in a circular orbit, they would only be able to hit things on the Earth that's in their path, which reminds me, it takes a long time to deorbit a satellite, but I'll get back to that. For now, let's just assume that you can drop satellites instantly. They orbit the Earth with about 10 kilometers per second, which means that if you miss your target, it takes 45 minutes to get back into position to hit it again. It's a pretty damn good aim if you can hit a moving target with a lump of unmaneuverable metal from 2,000 kilometers away. And to make it even more ridiculous, you can't just drop satellites from orbit. The only way to do it is to slow them down and make them deorbit, and it takes days to do that. The bad dude basically fires a bullet that hits Skibbons 1 week later in a Chinese diner somewhere in the United States. That is some next level fortune telling shit, especially since most satellites don't carry fuel to decelerate. When they deorbited Mir, the Russian space station, they aimed for the Pacific Ocean. That's the accuracy we are talking about here. Granted, it was in 2001 and that's some time ago, but they had to launch an entire module filled with extra fuel just to slow the damn thing down for the deorbit. And then they aimed for the biggest ocean in the world, which kudos to them, they hit. This is not a Chinese diner hitting weapon. If anything, it's a China hitting weapon. And let's talk about the Game Boy control thingy. They say it's one of a kind. Okay, fair enough, but why? Why can't you just build another one? If it's a communication device, then the difficult part is the software, which they presumably have made a working prototype of. So the worst thing they can do is destroy the damn thing.
Was that necessary?
It's what Gibbons would have wanted.
No, it wasn't. Now they can't figure out how it works, and the bad guy can just make a new one. And that's why you don't send a beefhead to do tech stuff. Send an engineer to figure out how that thing works and save the day. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more, click on the video on your left to see one of my favorite debunking videos.
I live for this shit.
If you click on the right, well, then the YouTube gods are in command and they will have figured out something for you to watch. And here's a little bit of bonus info. Vin Diesel's real name is Mark Sinclair. See you in the next one.